The solution to your problem is not going to be found in the problem. It's not going to be found in there. You have to get out of the problem so that you can look at it, make an assessment, and you can assess how to solve the problem or whether you need to solve the problem or not. I mean, there's a lot of things in my life right now where I shrug my shoulders and go, okay. It's okay. Oh, someone's saying this. Okay. Roger that. Like, carry on. No factor. Move on. And then occasionally you go, okay, this is something I need to contend with. This is something I need to deal with. This is something I need to shape or adjust or move or solve, to use your word. And the reason I laugh when I say that is because problems, you have to get in there, but if you take a step back, you can usually say, oh, a little adjustment here, a little adjustment there, and that thing's gonna sort itself out. So detachment is a superpower, man.
Let's talk about hard work. There's this battle that happens on Twitter a lot between should you work harder and should you not. Like David Hauser's on there saying it's like you're slave driving people, and Keith Rabois is always on there saying like, no, all the great founders work their fingers to the bone. And they're talking past each other. First of all, they're talking about two different things. David is talking about employees in a lifestyle business, which is fine. Your number one thing in life, if you're doing that, is not getting wealthy. You have a job, you also have your family, you also have your life. But Keith is talking about the Olympics of startups. He's talking about the person going for the gold medal and trying to build a multi-billion-dollar public company. That person has to get everything right. They have to have great judgment, they have to pick the right thing to work on, they have to recruit the right team, and they have to work crazy hard because they're basically engaged in a competitive sprint. So if getting wealthy is your goal, you are going to have to work as hard as you can. But hard work is absolutely no substitute for who you work with and what you work on. What you work on is probably the most important thing. Finding product market founder fit, to expand on Mark Andreessen's definition, he came up with product market fit, but I would add product market founder fit, which is how well you are personally suited to that business. The combination of that three, that should be your overwhelming goal. And you can save yourself a lot of time if you pick the right area to work in.
Which brings me to rule number 4, which is don't listen to the naysayers. I mean, how many times have you heard that you can't do this, and you can't do that, and it has never been done before? As a matter of fact, I love it when someone says that no one has ever done this before, because then when I do it, that means that I'm the first one that has done it. So pay no attention to the people that say it can't be done.
No, I've actually always found something to be very true, which is most people don't get those experiences because they never ask. I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help. I always call them up. I called up, this will date me, but I called up Bill Hewlett when I was 12 years old, and he lived in Palo Alto. His number was still in the phone book. And he answered the phone himself. He said, yes? He said, hi, I'm Steve Jobs. I'm 12 years old. I'm a student in high school, and I want to build a frequency counter. And I was wondering if you had any spare parts I could have. And he laughed, and he gave me the spare parts to build this frequency counter, and he gave me a job that summer in Hewlett-Packard, working on the assembly line, putting nuts and bolts together on frequency counters. He got me a job in the place that built them. And I was in heaven.
Picking the right people to work with is the next most important piece. And then third comes how hard you work. But they're like 3 legs of a stool. If you shortchange on any one of them, the whole stool is going to fall down. So it's not like you can pick one over the other that easily. So the order of operations when you're building a business is, or even building your career, is first figure out what should I be doing? What is something where there is a market that is emerging, there's a product that I can build that I'm excited to work on, and something where I have specific knowledge and I'm really into it. And then second, surround yourself with the best people possible. And no matter how high your bar is, raise your bar. Because you can never be working with other people who are great enough. If there's someone greater out there to work with, you should go work with them. I advise a lot of people who are looking at which startup to join in Silicon Valley, I say basically pick the one that's going to have the best alumni network for you in the future. Look at the PayPal mafia. They work with a bunch of geniuses, so they all got rich. So just try and pick based on the highest intelligence, energy, and integrity people that you can find.
What is your process for engaging detachment or for disengaging? Is it an active process where you go, I'm going to detach from this. I'm going to put myself in a situation that is pulling on me. There's this gravitational force, and I'm going to create some imagery in my mind of walking away from it. Do I physically walk away from it? Do I outsource it to somebody else? What are some tools for detachment?
Yeah, this is one of those situations where you and I had a discussion about the science and the practical application aligned. So my original experience with detachment was, and this is one of those moments where, I said a lot of times things are just small moments over time and you make a little adjustment. This is one of those moments in my life, and I wrote about leadership strategy and tactics, where I recognized, like in a moment, what detachment was and how helpful it was. I'm on an oil rig doing a training mission. My whole platoon is in a skirmish line looking at a large area of the oil rig that we're supposed to be clearing. Again, this is not combat. This is in the 90s. There's nothing going on. We're just doing training. And I'm standing in this skirmish line. And by the way, I'm the youngest and most junior guy in my platoon. And I'm standing there looking down the sight of my weapon, and I'm waiting for someone to make a call and tell us what to do. And I wait for 5 seconds, and I wait for 10 seconds, and I wait for 20 seconds, and no one's saying anything. And we're waiting for a leader in my platoon to make a call, to tell us what to do, to tell me what to do. And finally, after like 30 seconds, which seems like an eternity, I can't take it anymore. And so I take a step, like a foot, a 1 foot step, 12 inches. I take a step off the skirmish line. I look to my left, I look to my right, and what I see is every other guy in my platoon is staring down their weapon. Staring down the sight of their weapon, which means their field of view is tiny. It's like a 20-degree field of view. You're looking down the scope of your weapon or the sight of your weapon. And that's how big their field of view is. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh, there's my platoon commander. He's looking down the scope, the sight of his weapon. There's my platoon chief. He's looking down the sight of his weapon. There's my leading petty officer. He's looking down the sight of his weapon. There's my assistant platoon commander. He's looking down So everyone in the platoon is looking down the sight of their weapon, which means they all have a very narrow field of vision. Well, when I take a step back and look to my left and look to my right, guess what kind of field of vision I got? I got a massive one. I can see the whole scene, and I can see exactly what it is we need to do. And at that moment, look, as a new guy, you need to keep your mouth shut. We don't say anything. And I'm thinking, well, but no one else is saying anything. So I muster up all the courage I can, and I open my mouth and I say, hold left, clear right, which is a basic tactical call. No. This is not a patent-level genius maneuver. It's just a normal call to make in a situation that we were in. I say, hold left, clear right. And I'm expecting to get kind of slapped, told, shut up, new guy. But instead, everyone just repeats the call, hold left, clear right, hold left, clear right. And we execute the maneuver, and we finish the clearance of this oil rig. And we get done, we get to the top of the oil rig, which means we cleared the whole thing. We're on the helo deck at the top, and we go into a debrief. And now I'm expecting, okay, now I'm gonna get told, hey, what were you doing? You need to keep your mouth shut. And instead, the platoon chief goes, hey, Jocko, good call on the cellar deck down there.